Well, a strong 7.7 magnitude earthquake rocks the Queen Charlotte Islands off the west coast of Canada. American geological sources say the epicenter of the earthquake was around 139 kilometers south of the town of Masset. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake was centered at a depth of 9.8 kilometers. So far, there's been no word on possible damage or casualties. We'll update you on the details in the coming bulletins. To bring us up to speed on the recent aftermath of the quake in Canada, we're joined by Joshua Blakeney, who's with us from Calgary. Joshua, what do you have for us?
Well, fortunately, the earthquake seems to have struck in a less populated part of Canada. Haida Gwaii, although having some of Canada's most spirited and resilient indigenous peoples, isn't a very populous area. The earthquake was a 7.7 earthquake on the Richter scale. Now, obviously, in layman's terms, not many people know what the Richter scale really stands for. It's hard to gauge what that really means. It's a logarithmic scale, obviously. Now, the Tohoku earthquake in Japan that took the lives of 16,000 people last year was 9.03 on the Richter scale. So this is 7.7. And I did hear a spokesperson for the U.S. Geological Survey who alerted Canada to this earthquake. And he referred to that as being very strong, that 7.7 was a very strong earthquake. And then he went on to add that it would take lives, create casualties and cause a great deal of destruction. And he added the qualifier, of course, if it took place in a populous area. Now, Vancouver is 720 kilometers to the south of where the epicenter of this earthquake was. And so obviously the people of Vancouver will be quite pleased that the epicenter of this earthquake wasn't any closer to them, because Vancouver area houses about 2.2 million people. Now, what's unknown now is whether a tsunami will strike, because people will remember, of course, that the disasters in Japan last year caused by the Tohoku earthquake. It was a duo of the earthquake followed by devastating tsunamis that hit the coast of Japan. Now, here from Alaska down to Vancouver, there is earthquake warnings. Tsunami warnings currently taking place, because the people are unsure whether this earthquake, which did strike in a less populous area, will now ignite tsunamis coming onto the coast. Now, we have cities like Vancouver and Seattle in the United States, and of course Vancouver Island, which is an important part of Canada, the capital city of the province of British Columbia, and the British Columbia Parliament is in Victoria on Vancouver Island. All these areas potentially could be jeopardized were a tsunami to erupt, to have been induced by this earthquake. So that's yet to be seen. So as high as Alaska and as low as Vancouver and Seattle, everyone's on alert and wondering whether there will be a tsunami induced by this 7.7 magnitude earthquake.
Joshua Blakeney from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Many thanks, Joshua. Elsewhere, anger continues to grow in Europe as spending cuts bite. From Rome to Madrid to Paris and Barcelona, tens of thousands of people have taken to the streets to protest against their government's unpopular economic policies. Let's have a look.
Saturday portrayed another day of doom and gloom